Okay, for today's session, we'll talk about the pointers. So how we can use pointers in C. So you have to know that pointers is an important concept in C, and it is very tricky to understand. And once if you understand, then using pointers um, is very easy, and you'll have a lot of fun using pointers. Okay, so you need to concentrate more on understanding how this exactly pointer works. So what is first thing you need to understand is how the data is stored in a memory, right? So we have a main memory. So in the main memory, we are storing the data. So whenever we are executing any instruction, so we need to fetch the data from the main memory and apply some operations on that particular data. So in order to store the data in the memory, we need to store in a specific memory location. So for each memory locations in the memory, we have an address assigned to it. Okay, for each memory locations, there is a address associated with it, right? So with this address, within that particular address, okay, we are storing some particular data. So address of a memory location is nothing but like whatever you have your your home address or a college address or school address, right? So like that, in order to identify a particular location, we have address. So similarly in C concepts also, so for each memory locations we have a address. Say for example, here it is specified like xyz equal to 50. Okay, I have a declared variable xyz. Yeah. So I have a variable called int x y z equal to some value I will give. So what it means? It means that I have defined a memory location of type integer, and name of the memory location that I have given is xyz, and the value I'm storing in that particular memory location is 40. So this when I execute this particular instruction, okay, so memory location is allocated for a integer variable, right? So for that integer variable, so memory is allocated. So each memory location is assigned a, as I told, will be having a address location. Say this xyz is stored in some memory locations. So say for example, I have a memory from starting from 0 uh, to 0, then say 1, 2, so on, up to the size of your RAM, correct? So in this, whenever I execute this instruction, in this instruction we have xyz equal to 40. So somewhere in this, in the memory, the RAM memory, so xyz is stored. So say for example, it is stored in this example, it is stored at the address 1380. So 13 at the location 1380. Okay, so this is the memory location where the xyz, that is name of the variable, and value is 40 is stored. So in this particular 1380, I'm storing the value 40. Okay, so in this particular memory address, I'm storing the value 40, and name of this memory location, I'm giving it as xyz. Okay, xyz. Now what is a pointer? So pointer is an variable. It is an variable which stores the address of another variable. I will define once again. A pointer is a variable, so it stores the address of another variable. So generally variable holds values, right? But when I define a pointers, so pointer, so it stores address of an variable. So what is the address of variable xyz? As I told, it is 1380. So when I define a pointer, so pointer should contain this address. Okay, see here example. So I have defined a variable xyz and I have initialized to value 50. So I am declaring a pointer. So pointer p is declared. So what is a pointer? Pointer is a variable that contains the address of another variable. So you can see here. So what this pointer stores? So the pointer stores the address of another variable. That is xyz's address will be stored in this pointer location. So again, each pointer will be having its own memory. So when I say memory is allocated to a pointer, then that memory allocation will be having certain address, right? So the address of where the p contains is 2545. So this is the address of this particular pointer. So what is the content of that particular pointer? It is nothing but it is another address. It is the address of another variable. Okay. So how to define a pointer? So we can define a pointer like this. We can specify the data type. So their data type may be your primitive data types, that is either int, character, float, double, void. So all these data type you can specify. That is the data type, and followed by asterisk symbol. So whenever you specify the asterisk symbol, it means that the variable is a pointer variable. So when I say it is a pointer variable, means it the content of this memory location is an address of another variable. Okay, so you can see here. So I have defined an pointer variable p of type integer. So it is a pointer to the integer data type. So this pointer can have an address of another integer type. It cannot have a address of character data type. No, it cannot have. Say for example, I have defined int a, right? And if I define the char abc, if I define integer a as a pointer, okay, how to define? By providing star. And if I initialize this abc to some character, say h, okay, if I do like this, that is if I initialize a equal to a equals ampersand of abc, then it will throw an error because the type is not matching. Okay, so abc is a character type, whereas a is an integer type. So the compiler will throw an error. So whatever the type I am defined the pointer, so it can hold only the address of that particular type. It cannot hold the address of any other type. Fine. So if I define a pointer to the integer, then it can hold an address to the address of a point of an integer memory location. So it should be an integer only. This is how you can define an integer and how you can, you know, give an initialize an address to the pointer. So this is how you can initialize. So this the ampersand is used for getting an address of a particular memory location. So if I say a ampersand of xyz, it means that where exactly this xyz is stored. What is its address? So its address will be given here. So what is the address of xyz in our example? So address of xyz is 1380. So if I specify ampersand, it means that it will give me an address. So what I'm doing, I'm assigning the address to pointer p. So what is my pointer content now? So it contains the address of another variable. So 1380. So it does not contain 550 value. It contains address of another variable. That is the pointers. How to get an address of a variable? So you can get an address of variable by specifying ampersand symbol. Okay. So you can see here in this example what we are doing. So I have declared 4 data types in float double character. Okay. And I have initialized some values for each data type. Okay. And I'm printing the value as well as its address. You can see here I have specified ampersand a. So when I say ampersand a, it will give me the address where exactly this a is stored. Similarly for b, c, d, and ch. You can see the output. So 10 is stored in the location. So this is the address of where exactly the 10 is stored in the memory. So this is not a constant. So this will be a dynamic. So as when you uh, run, so the output will not remain same. The address will change dynamically, right? So because each time you are executing, so it may be stored in different memory location. So that's the reason. So this address will keep on changing. So now how to add, so now you got to know like how to get an address, how to store an address of a variable in a pointer. Okay, so just initialize using ampersand. Now how to get the content of this address? So 1380 is there. So p contains 1380. Now I need to fetch what is the content of 1380. So 1380 is a memory address. So but I need to have value in that address. I don't want address. I want what is the content of that particular address. So how can I get that? So I can get that by using asterisk symbol. Okay, it is called as indirection pointer, indirection operator. So if I to the pointer variable, if I specify asterisk symbol, then it will fetch the value present in that particular memory location. You can see in this example. So I have defined an integer pointer star p, and I'm assigning the address of c to the pointer. Okay, I'm assigning the address of c to the pointer. So in order to fetch the value in that particular memory allocation, then I need to use the indirection operator, that is asterisk symbol with the pointer variable name. So star p indicates so the value which is there in that particular address. Okay, so value, what is the value present in the memory allocation in our example 1380? If I say star p, it will give in this address what is the value. So the value is 50. So that will be fetched. So this is how you need to get a variable using a pointer. Now let's see one example. So example, passing argument by reference. Okay, so we have defined what is the program. The program is to swap two integer values. So I have defined a and b. So I need to swap the content of A to B and B to A using the pass by reference, Okay, so what I done, I've initialized A equal to 5 and B equal to 25, 20, and I'm calling a function. You can see now what we are doing. We are not passing the values, we are passing the address. What do you mean by this? That's what I said. No, whenever we are specifying the ampersand, it will give the address of this particular memory location. So we are passing the address location here. So that is reference. We are not passing the value. We are passing the address of a particular memory location. So we are passing address A and address B, where exactly this B is stored. That address we are passing. So whenever we are writing the definition, so if you are passing a address, then that has to be received as a pointer. So A is an integer type, so that's why we are defining int star x. So what is the x now? X contains the address of where exactly this A is stored. So x is equal to ampersand of A. Okay. So if I say star, what it means? It means value in that particular location. And int y, so y is an address where exactly B is stored, and star indicates the value in that particular memory location. So I'm using a temp variable. So I'm interchanging the value and I'm closing. Now you can see the beauty of the pointers. So no need to return anything because we are directly modifying the memory location of A and B. So x, what is the x? The content of x is the address of A. So in that particular address only we are modifying. So that's the reason no need to pass any return any value. So whatever the modifications we do in this particular address, so which is nothing but it is the address of A. So it is as if we are updating the value of A, right? So let's see with an example. I will execute and show it. So what is an pointer? Pointer is a variable which contains the address of another variable, right? So I have defined have created files. So I will show you with the execution. So first we need to go to the folder where files are there. Correct. So first I will show execute the address. So you can see what I'm doing. So I have declared a variable of integer and have created a pointer to a variable pointer declaration. So for a best practice, whenever you declare an pointers, so initialize with null. So it is a best practice. It is not a mandatory, but usually whenever you declare a pointer, that has to be initialized to null. Later you can assign some address in some in after some instruction or immediately, but always follow that when you are declaring a pointer, so initialize with a null. Okay. Yeah, now I am storing the address of this particular variable. So how to get an address? So if I specify ampersand, it will show the address. So now we'll see where exactly this particular value is stored. So let's run it. GCC address. Yeah, so this is the address where the variable 20 is stored. So in order to get the value which is present in this particular address, we need to specify star symbol. So if I specify the star asterisk symbol, so star of IP, so I will get the value present in that particular memory location, right? So if you can check, like if I execute once again, the address will change. So see here, earlier the address was different. So for this execution, the address is different. So for each execution, the the address location will change, right? And next is I was explaining about the pass by reference. So here you can see here. So A and B I have declared the variable C. So I'm passing reference A and B. See here just to show difference and passing without any reference. So I'm passing by value. So now I'm interchanging the values. See now I have received C in integer Z, correct? And I'm updating the Z value. But the value of C will not be updated because it is not a pointer. We are passing by value, not by reference. So if I update Z here, so the C will not be reflected the C because we are not passing the address. So whatever the modification we are doing with respect to Z, so Z has separate memory location. So in that memory location, we are updating to 500, but the value of C will remain same. But you can see that, and the content of A and B will be changed because we are passing by reference. Yeah, see here. So initially we are A is 100, B is 200, right? Then we are passing by reference. So as soon as I'm passing the value, I'm just printing the value of Z here. So Z value is 300 because we are passing initialize C to 300 and we are passing the value. So 300 will be stored, and again we are interchanging here and we are updating Z. You can see that the value of Z remains same, but content of A and B is interchanged, right? So this is how we need to use the pointers in C. I hope you understood. So practice. Thank you for joining.